Hello and welcome back to TICKER Cyber, where we are encouraging you to get on top of your cybersecurity by building cyber fitness into your home and business. And joining me today is Susie Jones and Adam Selwood from Cinch Security fame. Welcome to you both.
Thanks for having us. How do you like?
No worries at all. Here we are from lockdown town. So Susie, give us the rundown. What are we going to be talking about on the program today?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's alerts again have been issued for Microsoft Exchange servers, so we'll talk through that. The big business have shown that they've really changed the way that they're making technology decisions in light of all of the ongoing impacts of lockdowns and remote working. So it's time for small businesses to follow. And finally, there's security concerns have prompted franchise groups to actually up their game when it comes to security, and we're seeing the same thing with some of the partners that we're working with.
Interesting. I feel like Dominos was mentioned somewhere in here, so I'm very excited to get into today. Adam, kick us off with Microsoft. They're back triggering alerts at the moment. Can you give us a bit of insight?
Well,
oh, we're being told to pause. We're being told to pause. I'm getting a pause notification. Oh, apologies, Rick. I was... I can't go back up with this thing.
The only way is forward, Mike.
Apparently. With this brand new jigger that's supposed to be... yeah, my boss said, why would you want to go back? I said, what if I forget the question or the name? Give me a bit of room. Rick, did you need me to do something? Yep. All right, I'll ask the question again. All right, let's start off with Microsoft, guys. And I understand they're back triggering alerts at the moment. Let's find out what's going on. Should we be worried?
Always, Mike. That's the lesson, isn't it? We always want to be worried a little bit, just at some stage. But this week, again, we've seen the Australian Cybersecurity Centre put an alert out, particularly for those organisations and groups that are using Microsoft Exchange servers. We actually touched on this a couple of months back and saw something similar pop up. What we're observing is that Exchange is a bit of a flavour of the month for attackers right now, and is being targeted again. Now, we actually notified all of our customers when this first came out. This alert was raised earlier in the week or last week. We're losing track of time now. It's a bit hard to keep track. But in essence, what it is that there's 3 new security vulnerabilities. Were actually patched back in April and May of this year, but they're quite severe and significant, and ultimately they could lead to some fairly serious implications, including potentially ransomware in your environment if you don't have them installed. Whilst the issues themselves are targeting Microsoft Exchange server, we are pretty comfortable and quite glad to see that, again, most of our customers and most of the small businesses out there are using cloud email platforms, which are at this stage unaffected. But a really important lesson and something we will continue to iterate every single week, which is you should be patching. So make sure you've got the latest updates installed and keep yourself safe. Definitely.
What's the difference between the Microsoft Exchange server and the cloud? Was that the...
Yeah, so the main difference there is that the Exchange server, this is the one with the vulnerabilities in it, that is something that you would be running yourself. So there would be a physical or a server running in your environment that you're directly responsible for yourself. And in this instance, and actually all the ones that we've observed, they've been attacked. Cloud email platforms like Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace, which we use, they are managed a little bit more robustly by the vendors themselves, be it Google, Microsoft, or whoever. And usually all these patches are really well established and they have a whole bunch of other security mechanisms in place. So if you are running your own server, really a good opportunity and another reminder to start to look towards moving that to someone to manage on your behalf, be it a cloud provider or potentially another outsourced IT provider that can step in and keep you safe.
Awesome. So you're confident Microsoft will get on top of this moving forward?
I'm confident Microsoft will be on top of it. The real question is everyone that's running Microsoft systems going to be on top of it, being aware of the patches that are out there, getting them installed quickly enough so that they don't become a victim. And it is an important message for everyone to sort of stay aware of this stuff as it pops up. Subscribe to alerts if you can, and whilst you don't necessarily need to follow the ACSC or the Australian Cybersecurity Centre, hey, we would always encourage you to sign up for Cinch, and we'll let you know if there's something you should be mindful of.
Yeah, nice. All right, well, let's move on to the next topic. And it seems as though big corporates have changed the way they make technology decisions. This is an ongoing discussion. What are you seeing at the moment, Adam, with in regards to the big players?
Big players are doing the big things and invest in the big bucks. That's probably what they should be doing, really. But we have seen an ongoing trend, and it's continuing to happen around investment into cybersecurity, as you would expect. A little bit like, so we're all living or starting to talk this week. There's a lot more conversation just in the community about what's it going to be looking like to live with COVID, what things look like in the future once we're past all this lockdown stuff that's going on at the moment. And similar conversations have been going on in big businesses and government for quite a while about living with the situation when it comes to cybersecurity attacks and what we do about that. NAB and Woodside Energy in particular this week have sort of, there's a bit of a discussion out there, and they've been talking about how they've actually moved to something called zero trust, and they've adopted this new model, which is really about acknowledging the fact that their organization and the business that they run is now distributed, so many people working remotely, whether or not we're at home due to lockdowns, or ultimately, once we're living with COVID, once this sort of stuff is out there, it's going to be hard to put the genie back in the bottle. Everyone is going to continue to want to work from home. And if they're sick, we're going to want them to work from home. So really, they're embracing this new paradigm. And NAB actually has rolled out this concept out to over 22,000 of their staff. So, a big chunk of their employees now have adopted this zero trust concept, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, just mentioning the words lockdown and COVID, and I'll shake it off. All right, Susie, it seems as though it's not just big corporates, it's the singular small businesses that are changing their technology decisions as well. What are we seeing from the smaller guys and the franchisees, etc.?
Yeah, it's actually been an interesting trend that we've been acknowledging for a little while. So just in last week, Domino's Pizza have announced that it's really upped its security protocols and introduced something called DMARC. So they've said that this is in a bid to protect their customers from fake Domino phishing attacks. Basically what DMARC is a security control that ensures that only systems with approval from the Domino's team can actually send emails on their behalf. So it limits a cyber criminal's ability to impersonate the Domino's brand and send phishing emails to their customers to try and trick them into handing over their credentials or their credit cards to the wrong place. But the DMARC project was just one initiative that they've had over the course of a little while, and certainly into the future as well. And it's really interesting trend because it's an important and promising trend, because in the past with franchise groups, the relationship when it came to technology and indeed their contracts overall was very black and white. It was corporate office is responsible for A, B and C, and the franchises are responsible for everything else. So very black and white and defined in terms of the responsibility. But when it comes to security and cyber risk overall, nothing is black and white. It is very much needs to have a shared approach to securing those systems, to managing those systems. And so it's been terrific to see that Domino's have come out and said that that's what the approach that they have taken with their franchisees. We've certainly seen this ourselves. So we've been working with another franchise group in a completely different industry who's recognised that when it comes to protecting the brand overall, the corporate head office have the same motivation as well as the individual franchise owners themselves. So by taking a combined approach, we've been able to partner with that whole franchise group and help to protect everybody. And the moment that you have a corporate head office working closely with their franchise businesses, that's when you can see the improvement in cyber behaviour, cyber protection, and indeed the improvement in the cyber risk. So it's been fantastic to see this is emerging amongst franchise groups. We look forward to having more opportunities to work with other franchise groups in the future to help them take this similar shared approach to managing the risk and keeping the bad guys out.
It's fascinating that Domino's is the example. I couldn't imagine thinking about hacking pizza. I thought, oh, they're going to hack the cameras that they take photos of the pizza before they deliver it to you or something. But it's interesting to know that there's a lot of these companies are running on very large networks at the moment.
Absolutely, and particularly you think of how many hospitality businesses have had to switch, and very quickly last year, all of a sudden, a switch to Uber Eats and menu log and everything else. That many of them have had to go out and buy computers when they never used to have to before because they relied on foot traffic. But that's just not the case for many of these businesses now. So there's significant tech risk. Unfortunately, there's also significant tech, what we would call tech debt, with having to make very fast decisions to keep your business underway. And now's the time to get on top of it to make sure that you're not sort of the last zebra in the attack being chased after by the lions.
Yeah, so it's like, do you think the speed at which people had to adapt resulted in a lot more holes in the security of their networks and such?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we saw that every...
Adam?
Sorry.
I was just going to say, yeah, we've seen that everywhere, and it's still the situation today, really. Small businesses in particular are really just grappling with all the changes that they've had to shift to. As Susie mentioned, hospitality and whatnot is going on, and having to sell things online and do all of, adopt Uber Eats, and even just introducing, pay by card instead of accepting cash, introduces a whole bunch of different changes. And every single piece of technology that you add into your business or even into your own household carries with it and introduces some risk. We just, this week alone, learned of a new attack where someone can plug in a mouse, one of those Razer gaming mice. If you're familiar with that, they can plug that in, and if they can get to an unattended computer and plug the mouse in, all of a sudden, whoever's plugged that mouse in is on your computer and has whatever access they want, and they can go off and do things. So, this sort of stuff shifts all the time. We're all just reacting. We're all working from home or doing whatever we need to. And if we haven't then shifted and started to think about, well, technology is quite fundamental, and what do we need to do about securing all of that, it can be quite, the risk is increasing at the same time. But unfortunately, it doesn't really surface for many of us until something bad happens. And usually it's too late. And so it is really a positive sign to see large businesses, franchise groups, and we do hope to see, once things settle down for the small business community, small businesses also kind of thinking about and investing in and really growing their interest in improving the security of their business.
Yeah, now I'm really concerned about my brand new mechanical Razer keyboard, which I bought recently, but that'll be a discussion
the only issue is to make sure that you don't leave your computer unattended, or maybe it's an opportunity for you, Mike, to wander around the office and plug it in.
Oh God, it's at home. Computers. I'm being hacked right now as we speak. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on the program. It's always a great discussion.
Thanks, Mike.
Easy done. And of course, today's chat was presented by the team over at Cinch. And if you'd like to learn more, head over to their website and find out how Cinch with a C will help you and stay on top of today's threats so that your business will continue to grow tomorrow. I'm Mike Loader, and guys, just remember that everything we spoke about in today's episode, our views and our opinions, they're our own. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Be well.